Before we get started with the show, I think it's important to address the purple elephant in the room. And Mimi, as anybody has noticed, has not really been on the show for for damn near all February, really. Like she thinks she was in there for like one episode. Mimi's on a bit of a hiatus right now. Hopefully, she will be back soon, but I can't give you on March 25th on this day, you expecting, I can't give that to you. But she's still a part of the show. I was getting ready to say thoughts and prayers, but I was like, she's in. But it's so crazy how that works for everything. Like if you really just say it, works for everything.
That's kind of a point. I'm gonna just make it my point to like not ever say that phrase.
No, you're right. Yeah, because now that I think about it, it's just like it's really just a space filler.
Yeah, it's a catch-all.
Really, it's a catch-all. But if you do want to see Mimi, she uploads daily on TikTok. And so,
oh God, the shade.
What did I lie? Does she not?
Unique New York.
Alrighty.
How now, brown cow?
I
love scotch. Down it goes. Down to my tummy.
Welcome to the Two Guys and a Girl podcast. I go by the name of Big J. Sitting diagonal to me is my man Wally B. We have a lovely show for you today. I don't know. I'm lying to the people. I really don't got shit to talk about. I'm just going. I just got stories. Hopefully you find them funny.
Sometimes you just wake up and it may or may not be a problem, but you don't know what the fuck you about to do.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Like ever just walked around aimlessly?
Yeah.
Where you went to look for something, and then by the time you started looking for it, you forgot what you was even looking for. So now
look, that's every episode of every season of my life.
I'm like, I know I'm supposed to go in the living room, but now I don't know why I'm in the living room. And now I'm just walking around aimlessly trying to figure it out.
I heard recently, someone told me that there's actually an actual science to that. Like, there's people, of course, who have I'll talk about ADHD all the time on here, but that thing where you're sitting somewhere in your house and you're like, oh, I need to go get this from another room. And as soon as you walk out, enter the next room, you can't remember what.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
It kind of has to do with the way your brain processes stuff. So you're in your house, a real familiar place, you know everything. And when you walk into a room, your brain will assemble the picture of a room that you go into 1,000 times, and that's how you kind of notice stuff before you feel, you can react faster to things than if you're in an unfamiliar place.
Yeah, sometimes you, even if it's the same reason if you can use the bathroom without turning on the light.
Yeah,
you know where everything is, you know how your stuff
I'm not
is
allowed
laid
to do that though. I'll go in there and I'll get woken up in the middle of why is the toilet seat all wet? Turn the goddamn light on. And it's justified because I probably did just piss in the trash can a little bit.
No, what's really funny? Me and my sister used to share a bathroom growing up.
Yeah.
And so I would, little boys learning, doing their thing. And she's like, God damn it, what toilet's why I'm sitting in piss? So my dad came up with this brilliant idea. All right, next time he does it, make him sit down on it. And that way, he'll learn.
Oh, nah.
Yeah, nah. I was like, well, I'm always feel like I'm losing here.
I'm just sitting on the toilet, not even about to take a dump, and my butt's wet.
Yeah, nah, it was kind of weird. Because then they had the nerve to sit there and look at me. I was like, oh, this is awkward.
Oh, nah. See, that it was already too far, you know what I'm saying? That now that you have to have an audience.
Yeah, I was like.
That's wild.
sit down. I'm like, well, can't we just? Well, I gotta make sure you did it. And I was just like, fuck. And it was a woman I work with. She was like, she was going through a photo album. She's like, so, how long has this store been open for? And I was like, I don't know. Like I came here in like 2013, and she's like, well, I know Megan and Steve has been here since the very beginning. So I was like, well, I can't give you a precise date. No, and she's like, oh yeah, I think it's maybe like it started like '07, like the year I graduated from high school.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, oh yeah, you did say you were like she's like, you did say you like, what is the word she used? She's like, you did say that you were a prodigy growing up, and I was like, she's like, it makes me wonder what happened to you as an adult. I was like, no, wait, before you get, because everybody's going to get caught up on the second part. I was like, I never said I was a prodigy growing up. Yeah. I never said nothing like that. I don't think I've even used that word in this sentence.
That only sounds like something that would ever came out your mouth if you were like simultaneously making a joke. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I will never see you be serious about
I was a prodigy. Like, yeah, that's like real. Yeah, like, yeah. I could say like wild stuff, but I never said that. So then as I'm leaving the room, I was like, wait a second, did this bitter old just say that I fell off as an adult?
Man.
I was like, wait, I was tight. I was like, oh, okay, she's on the list.
Yo.
Because she slipped that in like kind of casually at the end, but like my first part was like, wait, hold on a second. Like, I never told you. And then she was like, wait a minute. She just said I fell off low key and high key.
Yeah, like both. Yo, how'd she do all that?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I got you now.
I'm going to go ahead and write that down.
Yeah, I know how you feel now. Like, because like people, there's a lot of fake niceness that go on. But now it's like, all right.
What was I talking about?
You were talking about jazz.
Yeah, I went to jazz. I was in jazz ensemble for like my entire time in college, and there was always a lot of white people. Like there was definitely quite a few semesters there where I was the only black person in the band, a jazz band with one black person in it, and we're talking a big band. You know what I mean? Like all the horns, rhythm section, guitar players.
Kenny G plays yes.
You about to have me on here looking like a snob and an asshole.
No, it was just funny. I was like
disrespecting jazz like that.
But you know what's so funny? When I was growing up, that's what I thought jazz was.
Yeah, everybody thought smooth jazz.
I always thought jazz was like Kenny G elevator kind of music. Yeah. And then when I got older, I learned, the kind of more the roots of music and understood that, like as usual, one of the first people to do anything, whether it's jazz, country, gospel, is black people.
Yeah.
And then they kind of get whitewashed out of history.
Yeah,
But yeah, sorry, not to
back to the story, right? I was in a band with a lot of white people. A lot of semesters I was the only black person in the band. And there were a few times where, like, one of those in and out people that maybe came for a semester or two was a white dude in the sax section. And there were a couple times where, like, motherfuckers was hating.
On your plane?
Yeah, just like straight. They would make little comments that, like, you hear these comments and in your head you're thinking, oh, this motherfucker, one, doesn't think I should be in the position I'm in, and two, like, really wants to just come and take my spot. You know what I'm saying?
It's like some drumline shit?
Kind of like that's the mindset. We didn't operate like that at all. Like that shit is crazy.
He like called you out and was
like challenging people and all like that. We weren't in that kind of situation. Okay. That doesn't happen in like a jazz band that has like half community players. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that.
Like first chair is like when like the person. It's sort of like the
first chair is just it's what it sounds like, the leader of that section.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah,
so like I'm the leader of that section. That section is also the way we arranged it in the very front of the band on the stage. The director's up there. He counts us off. He walks off to the side, and like there's a sax section in the first row. You know what I mean? So like that's the position I held the whole time. But I definitely had times where people would like, just be hating, yo. Because the other thing about it is whether I was like more technically sound than the person sitting next to me or not, like I had the flavor. You know what I'm saying? Oh shit.
Got real animated. I got the juice now.
Yeah, but like I had the flavor. Like our band director used to be like, yo, he like we missed the soul. You know what I'm saying? Like I came back to see a concert once, and that's what he said. We missed the soul. Like I had the feeling, the shit. Like some people just can't. They have to like work towards it. You know what I mean? Like if you have a feeling for it, you have a feeling for it.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Does it jazz incorporate a lot of improvisation? In it?
For the most part. Like you got, you know, like a typical jazz song that we might have played on stage, right? Mm-hmm. It has like a section where the whole entire band's playing, and then it might have like solo sections in there. And like we kind of just take 4 bars of these repeating chords that the rhythm section keeps playing over and over again, loop it so one person can like play their solo over it or whatever it is. Yeah. So, you know, in terms of just stuff like that, which, you know, I wasn't great at improv, but when we're playing as a full band like this, remember I was talking a few weeks ago about how you have to exaggerate everything you're doing when you're performing in general. It's like that, like the you're feeling the movement throughout the melody that you're playing, just all sorts of stuff like that. There's some people that just are able to internalize it better than others.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's one thing that I've always had. So if anything, if I was messing up, even if I couldn't play a part all the way through, like I could at the very least make it sound acceptable and work on it from there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's part of the reason I held my spot in that band.
You know, it's always, you know, when you're doing you, it's always funny how some people perceive that as even a threat and somehow to what they're doing. So I was laying in bed the other day and nah, I wasn't doing that. But I was chilling, and then I see a thing on my phone, the Facebook Messenger pops up. And I'm like, who the hell? Like, there's only one person who Facebook messages me. Because Facebook Messenger, I always figure is for people who don't really have your number.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so because, like, why would you waste time doing that?
Yeah.
So I kind of knew who it was. So when I went to look, I was like, "This is exactly who it was." I'm gonna just call her Stacy.
Okay.
So Stacy is hitting me and is like, "Hi," and I'm like, because of my history of Stacy, which I will get to, I was like, "What?" It will make sense why I answer her what. But she was like, so Stacy was like, so what's your Venmo account? And then I was like, well, she definitely has this, but I don't know it offhand. So let me go to my Venmo account, see what it is. The reason why Stacy wants my Venmo account is because I gave Stacy circa 2019 a large sum of money. All of you can just think about what, like mid 2019, right before the pandemic happened. Yeah, the story gets better. So I give Stacy a large sum of money. During the pandemic, Stacy had began to start paying me back. So she paid me back $400 during when everybody was kind of coming up during the PPE loans and all the rest of that.
Yeah.
I ain't accusing nobody, nothing. I just know that I wasn't getting my money before then, and then after then I started getting said money. Hey. So I got $400. So I haven't gotten any money since then. So, and then as you know, it's March, tax season. So I'm imagining, all right, I may get a little bit of installment. So I think it's important to say, before I get to how much money Stacy owed me, is that me and Stacy were heavily talking. Like we weren't quite like Facebook official or nothing. But
there's so many levels.
No, there is. But like that was that was bae.
Okay.
So, but and here's the funny thing about her, like
serious enough to
where
get that much money.
Yeah, to where I didn't think anything of it because I was like, it's like,
oh, you need help?
She's not about to run off on the plug. What are we talking? So anyway, so then she's talking to me one day on the phone. She's like, "Yeah, I got to move because I had this place with my baby daddy. I'm not with him anymore, obviously, and so I got to downsize." And I was like, that's cool. Sometimes you got to take a step back into 2 steps back to take 3 steps forward. And I'm doing all that. So then next thing you know, she's like, "Yeah, but I really don't have the money for the down payment on the apartment." I'm like, well, how much is it? You know, white knight all day, every day over here. It was like a G.
God, yeah.
So I was like, no problem. I got that.
Got you.
Because I did. At that point in time.
I want to say life was probably like pretty solid at that point, mid 2019. You know what I mean?
Mid 2019, it was all right. Like I was doing okay. So yeah. So I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna like. I could still make rent. I could still provide for myself.
Right.
I'm cool. She's like, well, if you're gonna give me that much money, we should have like a contract. I was like, there's no need for that. Pay me back whenever you get a chance.
Right.
There's a lot of people say I took an L here, and I was like, yeah, I did. I took a lesson. So I help her move.
Sorry, I was thinking of don't throw a oop to a motherfucker who can't jump. Sorry, I had to get that out.
So I help her move, and she's appreciative of it.
So you dropped the bread and helped her move too.
Oh yeah. I did that. Next thing you know, shit get different after that, Wally.
Uh-oh.
Shit get different. Like you went from like texting me good morning and shit every morning to like the only way you contact me is unless I hit you first. And then slow hitting me back when I do hit you. Then you don't even hit me back at all anymore. Bruh, when I tell you, I was like, wait a minute, did I just get finessed? And here's the thing. Wow, when you're a dude, you get finessed. Where's the sister circle for that? Wait, where's the sister circle for that?
You got what? Boy, you dumb as shit.
Imagine me putting that in the group chat. Yo, imagine that. Yo, where's our sister circle?
It don't happen like that.
It don't happen like that. So, L, right here. And here's what makes it worse. Rains it pours. A pipeline burst at our job. I had to sit home for 2 weeks.
Oh, no.
I'm
how all job works.
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm not getting paid.
Yeah.
I'm down in G, and I don't look like I'm getting this back. All right. So I have been at home 2 weeks. Because there's no support system, I'm getting right mentally.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I wasn't as mad about the relationship part. I was more mad about the finessery. The finessery. Like, I got taken advantage of.
Yeah, like,
it's the principle of being taken advantage of.
And it was like real, like, black and white the way it happened. It sounded like everything, I need help with this, and like y'all agreed on it. You helped with everything, gave the money, and then like right after that, shit kind of fell off a cliff.
Yeah, and it was
it becomes obvious at that point.
Yeah, in hindsight, it all makes sense.
Yeah,
but in the moment, because there's a certain amount of trust, you don't think about it like that.
Yeah, you was up there like, you give me butterflies inside.
Song I was listening to?
What?
Genuine Differences and shit. See? Vulnerable here. Men don't express their feelings. Damn all that.
My whole life has changed.
I was up there hitting all the high notes and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I went to Safeway and I got I ran into an old friend and she's like an OG with me. She's like, so what's going on? And I told her, I was like, you may not feel it this way, but you got off lucky. It's like, what you mean? I just got finesse out of 1,000. She's like, what if you were married to her?
Yeah, yo.
What if y'all had kids? What if you had to divide assets? She's like, do you need that grand to live right now? And I thought about it. I was like, I used to have that shit, but like I don't need it. Like I'm not like
right.
She's like, chalk it up as a L. You're clean.
Yeah.
You have all this other stuff is just temporary stuff, and by all of this, you gotta think about it. It's what she needed.
Yeah, right.
You didn't need that. When people are circling around in the drain or whenever they're drowning in the pool, they're grabbing onto anything. I'm doing this because I have other people than myself to consider. Mm-hmm. And I don't have that. I have the luxury of being myself and taking care of me. And I had the luxury of, giving up a G and still being okay.
Yeah.
And that's what she was trying to get me to see. And I felt better after that. Then the world fell apart. I was in the joke.
You like regressed into like being a caveman, and like everybody was just all alone all the time.
Death all around me.
Yeah,
I was in here looking like a homeless George Jefferson with the cul-de-sac and the beard. It was nasty.
Yeah, dog.
But you know what's honest about that? I was at peace. Even though my money kind of got tight around that time, I was at peace with the decision. I was cool with it because I understood I'm okay still.
You would have been. I got scammed hardcore, dog.
Shit.
In
really?
2020 during the pandemic. And I felt like so dumb and stupid after the fact. I was like hitting a stride music-wise, right? Mm-hmm. Making songs, reaching out to people, whatever. This one guy gets in my inbox. He was like, heard you a song, whatever the fuck. The joint is tight. Like, I'm trying to like get you on something, you know what I mean? And we start talking. He's like, I got a spot for some people on like this mixtape that I'm getting on with, whoever the hell, slide me $50 so we can get you on this joint, and I'll send you the song. You put your verse on it. I should have known like that was a red flag and shit. I put my verse on it. That joint was fire. You know what I'm saying? I sent it back. He sends another one. Like, we go through this a couple more times, and I forget what it was. Something made me realize that, like, yo, why am I still sitting here going back and forth with this dude? He ain't about nothing. I'm looking at his Twitter feed, seeing him doing the same thing to other people, posting and deleting tweets and retweets and stuff like that, just to kind of like curate his feed to make it look like he actually doing something when he really just scamming bammers. So look, I got scammed out like a couple $100 at the end of the day, and I was blown because like I had worked on that song. I should put a clip of that joint in here.
All my lines been disconnected. No studio, no microphone, I'm off the record. It's going great, my plan is going as expected. You're still the only one I wanna leave a message for. Close the door, up the exposure, move over, don't worry anymore. Uncertainty ain't my cup of tea, see what I got in store. What are you waiting for? Take off your mask and relax. Feel my hands on your back. If you wanna hit the town, then you should step into my crew. Let's get to moving, baby. Said you wanna groove. This all don't stop, so go get your dancing shoes. Fuck with me, and you'll never have to choose. The nights that you want and the life that you need. You want a real nigga that happens to be my steez. Stop the show, draw the curtain, there is no reprise. Meet me backstage, fly away with me.
Because I was like, yo, this is like it's happening. Like I'm like hitting my stride, making music with other people and just doing my thing. And it knocked me on my ass a little bit.
Well, because it wasn't just the money part; it was the time and effort that you put into. Because and it was the expectation.
Like you said, to getting taken advantage of. Like, this dude ain't doing nothing but on the internet scamming off of like, I don't even know if it was him, but the dude had like one song that popped a little bit, and he got it into a couple little like pretty popular blogs right about it. So like, if you Google him, some stuff shows up. And that's where like the basis of his whole operation is that it looks like I'm out here doing stuff. There's a couple articles written about me on big websites. I'm gonna just get, $50 here, $50 there. And like the more you go on with it, the higher amount he tries to like get from people. I start seeing people tweeting about it and like, other people that he had scammed, like putting threads together and all that. So I felt bad about it for a little while, but then like, after a couple months went by and I kind of forgotten about it, I found a song in my iTunes. It just came on. And I was like, hey, this joint is a bop. And then that's when it was over. I was like, yo, this dude is doing this for a reason. He's scamming because he got to, probably. And like, I got my money back, so it's cool. But that shit'll mess you up.
She's like, don't say that. I was like, don't say what? Don't say she. Corey wants to be referred to as they.
Okay.
And I was like, Corey have a twin? Because they, to me, has always been
multiple
people. So I was like, yo, because I've been getting this black dude's name wrong the whole time. I've been calling him Kevin. His name is Chris. So I just thought maybe there was a twin here, and I missed that too. Because I'm so busy in my room doing my job, I don't even be paying attention to what be going on in the front. So then, like, no, they want to be referred to as they. It wasn't, and here's the thing, and I'm not even trying to be offensive. I legitly I didn't understand that. I've always heard that pronoun used in talking about multiple people.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't quite understand how that applied to just a person and what that even meant. I think I heard a celebrity say it, but then I completely dismissed it because I was like, whatever. So then I was like, well, let me go talk to this person. I have a rapport with them. Yeah. Let me talk to Corey. Figure it out. Let me fill in the blanks for me. I'm curious. So I walk up to Corey and I'm like, so Corey, I was informed that you like to go by they. Hell's up with that? No, I didn't say it like that.
Hey, go. Yo, this story is about to go left.
No, I didn't say it like that. I try. And here's the thing. And you can either go too aggressive or you can go too passive in a scenario like that, where you like ask it, but like
they don't get the answer you was looking for, so you got to do something else.
Yeah. So I was trying to be direct enough to where they or Corey, let me just say Corey, knew what I was saying, but not where I felt like she was in the interrogation lights.
Yeah.
So I was talking to Corey. I said, Corey, I heard this. And she's like, yeah. Oh, Corey's like, yeah. I like to go by they, and they are them, and because sometimes I like to feel, and just to say, Corey's a Gen Zer, right? So Corey's like, yeah, I like, because sometimes when I'm at work, I'm more feminine in how I look and I have earrings, and then at home I'm a little bit more masculine. I wear like flannel shirts and stuff like that, and Corey's like, I don't always fit in a gender role specifically all the time, or I don't want to fit in a specific gender role all the time. And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, that makes some sense. Like I may not agree with the noun choice, but I understand the idea of I've never felt insecure about what I presented as, right? Mm-hmm. I may have not liked how I've been treated in certain scenarios based off of my skin color or whatever, but I've never been like, I know I'm expected to wear these Nike boots, but I would much rather have flats on right now. You know what I'm trying to say? I've never had that feeling. I've always felt comfortable in what I was doing or what I was about. So I can understand that there is a certain conflict in that would be a little bit kind of weird. Because even time you say he or she, there is a certain level of expectations that you have to wear a dress or you have to respond a certain way, this way or that way.
Like, what happens when somebody like says like, something that alludes to the fact that they're a woman, but like they don't like look like what you think a woman does. Like people get real ignorant when that happens, right?
Yeah.
They be like, you're a what now? Like they be real like blunt about it. Like you're challenging my entire worldview right now. What's going on?
Yeah, these binary, like the binary gender roles and stuff. And I thought to myself, part of the thing I always wanted to do, because I've always understood that ignorance breeds fear, fear breeds hate. Mm-hmm. And that's just a slippery slope to go down. I think a lot of times people's hate of something comes from a fear of something, which comes from a lack of knowledge of it. And I always wanted to gain knowledge.
Like you just don't know, right?
I just didn't know, and I wanted to understand what is the process. And then, I was like, well, this begs another question, and if you don't mind. And she's like, and Corey was like, yeah, that's cool. So I asked Corey, I was like, so, all right, let's say your sexuality. If you're not them, or if you're them, they, like, if a woman likes another woman, lesbian. If a man likes another man, they're gay. If a man likes a woman, that's heterosexual. If you're they, them, how does that work? Mm-hmm. And she was like, and Corey was like, well, I'm looking at, she's like, she started talking about some Greek mythology stuff real quick. But ultimately, Corey said an answer that I particularly liked. Mm-hmm. She was like, Corey was like, sorry, I keep doing that, but it's just, pardon me, I'm still trying to break it, the habit of it. But it was like, Corey was like, I don't know. Yeah. I love that answer. Yeah. I love the answer of I don't know. This is new, figuring it out still.
If I'm just thinking of like, if I hear that, like, if I hear somebody that's curious about that, my first like thought is they like first off, like my man Darius said in Atlanta, everything is made up. Stay woke. You know what I'm saying? Like all those concepts of heterosexual, lesbian, gay, like all that shit is created by someone. You know what I'm saying? So like when you talk about like yourself and how you moving through life, like you really are just trying to get yourself to a place where like you can accept both. You can accept yourself and you can just be generally happy. Like that's what anybody's always working towards. And like that's really all that matters. So like all them other terms don't mean anything to the person individually. So like when someone asks them that question, of course they wouldn't have a fucking answer.
If you subscribe to they, them anyway, you're already not trying to conform into any box anyway.
Yeah.
So that those terms wouldn't mean anything to you.
Yeah.
And I think, and when Corey said I don't know, I was like, well, that makes sense. You wouldn't know because there hasn't been a box created, and if there was one, you wouldn't want to be in it anyway.
Right. When we talking about like stuff like, you know, sexuality and all that, I like to zoom in real close because a lot of times these stories and these experiences are individual. You know what I mean? It's just the fact that like I get to like walk out my house and just get in the car and drive to work and do my work and go home and not one time have to hear somebody say some shit like, is that a dude? You know, I'm standing in line at Chipotle or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Just like getting to that point where they either don't hear that or they hear it and it just don't do nothing. Like you just realize instantly that person's an ignorant piece of shit.
Or feel, and I guess the term is like feel normal.
Yeah. There you go.
Feel normal.
All them words to say that.
no, but like just to feel normal is, like I said, it's a catch-all.
Yeah.
Feel normal mentally, feel normal spiritually, feel normal emotionally, feel normal on the outside with how the world treats you and how you treat the world. John Thompson won the 82. Yeah, it was 1982 national championship. He's the first black man to ever win it.
Right.
A lot of people don't recall this press conference, but he was what he said was really profound. He's like, I don't want y'all to give me credit for that. Like, I'm not making a big deal out of it. And they're like, well, why? He's like, if you make a big deal out of me winning a national championship, what you're then saying is that I alone now have the competency to do this.
Yeah.
And we all know that's a crock of shit. You know that I had an opportunity that a lot haven't been
in there.
Yeah,
I was the one they placed in that position.
Yeah, I wasn't. I'm not uniquely qualified to win this above everybody else before me that was black. I just happened to be in a position to have done this. What you should be saying is, how come it took until 1982 for this to happen?
Right.
And this is exactly why I feel about this situation with the Supreme Court justice nominee. It's like, why hasn't it taken? And this is an indictment on America in general. Why hasn't this happened before now? Because, the reason why it took so long for him to come up with names is because there were so many names to go through. There were so many qualified people.
That's definitely like part of I feel like the other part, though, is how all that shit happens. Because, like, if we just look at the past, like, however many, like, 3-4 presidents, right? Mm-hmm. When there's a situation where justice has got to be named to the court, right? Mm-hmm. It's always a thing where there's a lot of push and pull, and the Democrats usually get their person in if the stars align, and the Republicans usually get their person in if they push their way through and put them there. Just like Trump did, like 2 times during his term, right?
Well, Roy Moore was a big contentious one, and then he got pushed through, and everybody just said, because everybody feels safe with a white guy.
So like it's just one of those things where I feel like I don't know. We are in a unique position where like they had the power to like get this justice named and put them there. You know what I mean? That's not something Obama had. He was like wanted he. You know what I'm saying?
I think he put Sonia Mayor in. I think he appointed her.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like he was able to appoint her because the stars aligned and like it was the thing that was supposed to happen, not because they like bulled their way through some rules or
even then she was like the first. I think she was one of the first Latino women. Yeah. So I'm of two minds about this. Mm-hmm. I always I don't like identity politics because in certain situations because that be sometimes it feels like that's all they have to do.
Yeah.
But then I also like the idea of thinking if I'm a young black lawyer and and that's a woman,
Yeah.
oh, there's Supreme Court justices on there, and one of them looks like me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
a very
the first one. First of all, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very powerful statement. So anybody that says, "Oh yeah, we really don't need a woman president or whatever," that's not the most important thing. I'm like, it's not the most important thing, and that person should be qualified. But it is important because up until Obama became president, I didn't think anybody who looked like me was ever going to be president.
Yeah, we always thought the closest people would get is to like how Al Sharpton did or something like that.
I
kind
never
of close, but not really.
Or never really be taken that seriously past the primaries. So I do think there's power in that. I just don't think that should be only it. It's
one of those things. This situation, I just, I went and looked. I found basically when I was reading about her, I found this one chart. And that's why I was saying, like, she's more qualified than everybody. Mm-hmm. Like, when you talk about, like, being a judge, you know what I mean? Like, that's one of the professions where, like, experience, like, it is that important. Like, you working with the law on a daily basis or whatever, like, as a judge, it's probably one of the most important things that'll, like, get you into a higher seat than you were before. It's just, like, how things work. And this chart was basically showing that, like, her time sitting as a judge, like 3 times more almost than like anybody up there. You know what I'm saying? It was wild. Yeah, and it only helps. It only helps that like you have that person there that looks like she does and is who she is, and then on top of that, like by all accounts, looks like she know her shit. Really no holes. Like she had to be that way to get there. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the first person of anything has to be overqualified.
Yeah.
And that's just how history is always. But you have to be overqualified, and for the most part, you can't be. I made this example to somebody earlier this week. The first black basketball player couldn't be Dennis Rodman.
Nah.
For obvious reasons. They couldn't be Dennis Rodman because it would take a longer time to integrate.
Right. That don't happen. Like, and I was just thinking of the only real example I could think of where that wasn't the case, where like this person didn't have like loads of experience before they took their mantle, was Barack Obama. And it's part of the reason why the vitriol was so heavy. Because how long was he a senator before he became president?
He was a junior senator, but he also was a constitutional law professor. Like,
I'm saying like in terms of like being in politics, like that's one of the things that like if you're against somebody like that entering that arena, one of the first things you go to is the fact that they don't have any political experience, right?
Well, we all know that.
And so like that's like one of the only things that like that really pissed them off, because like he was good for the job, obviously, because of his experience, but he didn't specifically have that time around politics like that. Like they would have expected, if they were going to accept anybody that was black being the president at all, like that motherfucker's resume was going to have to be stacked. And like in terms of that was an easy thing for them to just grab it and like talk shit about.
But those same people said nothing when Trump became president.
Yeah, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about that, though.
I'm talking about, but that's what I mean. It's not real anyway.
Yeah.
That's why when it's not real, like when Laura Ingraham has some shit to say about LeBron, but then if somebody praises, like an athlete praises Trump, she doesn't say anything of, hey, shut up and just punch people, MMA fighter. Don't pray. You know what I'm saying? It's not real. Yeah. It's never real. Yeah. That's why even giving it attention almost is like, because it was never about his experiences, but we look like. It's a dog whistle. It was never real. So I get what you mean. And there was a lot of that at the time. But I never took that to be real.
Yeah, I guess I was just saying that one example, it was an anomaly. Like, let's make that clear. His situation, it was an anomaly, and those two things put together just made them that much more.
But he was a political rock star. If he could motivate,
that pissed him off. Yeah.
He could.
He was a political rock star that didn't have no in their head political experience, and that only made shit worse in their head.
But if you look at it, Obama couldn't So Joe Biden did a State of the Union the other day. Obama couldn't do a State of the Union like that. They would still be talking about how terrible it was, or talking about how to this day. Yeah, but that's what I mean. You have to. That's what I mean by being overqualified.
Yeah.
you have to be overqualified. You have to be a once in a generation type of talent in order to even get.
Barack Obama was like one of the best like speech givers,
public
like
orator of all like,
that shit. Yeah.
He's up there with Martin Luther King. That's what I'm saying. You
He's
have to
real
be
good
on
at
that
keeping
level.
his cool. He's real good at ramping shit up when it need. Like, you know, you don't see it often because he's the president. Like, they're gonna make his image look a certain way. But when they catch him doing stuff like standing next to Vladimir Putin, talking to him like this, and Putin just got his tail tucked between his legs and his ears down. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can turn, like, you don't get all of that from one person, yo. Yeah, that was that. Like, people don't talk about that, all this other stuff, like little stuff that he was good at. You know what I mean?
Well, the most common thing that people say is when in the dog whistles is intelligence. If that can't be questioned, then you have to then you have to question things like his experience, or you have to question what suit he's wearing.
And it's always very evident as soon as he opened his mouth, like that is where you're gonna have to go with this.
Yeah, and that's what I mean.
Yeah.
That other people can get by on not being like Nancy Pelosi isn't a great public speaker.
Right.
Others can get by on that, and that's what I mean. You have to almost. That's what it comes down to the Supreme Court justice. She had to be overqualified, or else she wouldn't even been in consideration. And so I'm glad that this has happened, and I'm glad
we're in a situation where like we didn't have to expect the government officials to have to muscle somebody in that joint to get somebody like that into the court in the first place.
Yeah, and I'm glad that
all the stars aligned here.
Yeah, and I'm glad we're in a position where we're slowly getting to a place where there's no longer first.
Mm-hmm.
And once we can get past first and all the rest of that, then we can just get to qualifications and stuff can just be like whatever.
Yep. Like we need a whole conference of NFL teams owned by black people. You know what I'm saying? Like we need stuff like that. We need black folks. I mean, you know, I'm talking about black folks because we black. But like any other race of disenfranchised people that are here going through stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like there needs to be, like, we need to get up in there. Yeah. And I know it's like we're blanket ass statement to make something that people have been saying all the time. But like, you know, you just got to keep saying it till it happens.
Or sometimes people are like, well, that's ambiguity. And like, you know what? People are ambiguity.
Yeah,
and
like, ain't nothing certain. Like, that's one thing that, like, you and I always talk about, like, when you get down on something and something's not going your way and you kind of regress into, I wish I could control it. That one thing that you always got to do is be like, yo, sometimes I can't.
And you got to be okay with that.
Yeah.
And be malleable to what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a really valuable lesson. So, you know what's so funny? I literally text Wally this week, y'all, and I was like, I don't have shit to say. Damn. And then we got on the microphones and started talking, and then we just bump into topics.
Yeah, it worked out. Yeah. Worked out great.
And like I said, and the two things I was talking about, I didn't think were independently, topics, but I thought the lens of having them, you can bump into topics within going on them. So, yeah. But we will have a special guest next week.
Yes.
And yeah, man, we're just looking to keep it pushing forward. And next week will be our year anniversary.
Mimi and Big J started this jaunt a whole year ago.
Yeah, I know she's on hiatus, but we gotta have her call in or something. Say something to the people. So we'll try to work on that. But in between time, you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll be back next week.
Yes, we will. See y'all.